And what is up, everybody? Just ran in a post off of BJ Penn's Facebook page. Find out that apparently some keyboard warrior, that I like to call him, or internet troller. Apparently, this guy does a lot of trolling to MMA fighters, but in particular, Josh Neer. Josh Neer was a very good fighter in UFC. Unfortunately, did wash out. Now, keep in mind, I have a lot, I have a lot of things to say about MMA fighters. But as far as saying that, oh yeah, you suck and that I can beat you, you're out of your mind. Um, I've been doing martial arts. I've been doing martial arts for a while. Um, could I fight? I'm actually trying to get ready to hopefully fight in the near future. I probably got like 3 good fights in me. But this moron, who was like, who outweighed Josh Neer by a lot, and picking a fight with him, comes into the gym, you know, and gets knocked out. Comes to his gym and gets knocked out. He tried waiting for. He tried waiting. Like he says, be there at 5:30. Dude shows up 40 minutes late. So after Josh Neer had already gotten warmed up, and 40 minutes into his workout is when this guy wants to show up, because then it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna be tired. And then on top of that, he's bigger than Josh Neer, so he wouldn't fight any. Josh Neer offered him to fight somebody else that was more or less his size. He wouldn't do it. He wanted to fight Josh Neer, the smaller guy. He was smaller than Josh Neer, bigger than Josh Neer. Josh Neer knocks him out. This harkens me back to somebody actually trolling and calling out Joe Rogan. Mind you, Joe Rogan's not a fighter, but Joe Rogan is a national taekwondo champion, Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, and trains with a lot of different MMA fighters. In fact, he even showed there's a video of him showing George St. Pierre like how to improve some of his kicks. The man, he is a seriously dangerous individual. Don't let the fact that he's a pothead fool you. Okay, and that might be a jab at at him, because I don't necessarily think he's that funny either. But I would never say, especially for a pro fighter, I would never go out of my way to say that I could actually beat them or have the delusions of beating them. I would love to spar with some of these guys someday. I would love to be able to I would love to roll jiu-jitsu with GSP or Renzo Gracie. Renzo Gracie himself has invited me, but I can't get to his school in New Jersey, and he's hardly ever at his academy in New York. And it'd be awesome to have the opportunity to learn from some of these guys, even the washouts. Like I would love to spar with Phil Baroni one day. And that guy's washed out of every major organization he's been a part of. And it's sad, but I would never try to be like, oh yeah, I can beat you, and try to troll a fighter. Now, granted, like I said, I don't like John Jones. That's because I don't like his personality. I don't necessarily like his style of fighting, but I would never say that I could beat him. And since I have nothing but respect for. But again, I didn't like his fighting style. Ronda Rousey, I don't like her personality. However, she's an Olympic bronze medalist. And on top of that, Strikeforce and first women's UFC champion ever. You can't take that away from her. I can never, the things that she's accomplished. And Josh Neer, he might not have accomplished that much in UFC, but to be able to make it to UFC is pretty tough. On top of that, I know somebody right now, undefeated 4-0, and is the current Ring of Combat middleweight champion, and There's talks of a UFC contract. It's not even definite. So that means he doesn't even know where his next paycheck is coming from. He doesn't even know if he's going to be fighting in Ring of Combat again or if UFC is going to pick him up. He doesn't know. And there's nobody else coming, coming to the table for him. Jason David Frank. They won't even UFC. If they sign you, they own you, and that's it. And I don't agree with that. And the fact that they did it with James Toney, why can't they do it with Jason David Frank? Sign James Toney up for one fight, and let him go after he got humiliated. Jason David Frank was, there was talks about him fighting CM Punk again. Again, going back to that, CM Punk gets signed to UFC, his first professional fight. Lucky for him, but he was a very, very popular wrestler, long-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. So, I don't mind him. I don't mind him going to UFC right away. Brock Lesnar. He didn't take an amateur. He didn't take an amateur fight in his first fight. Batista didn't fight amateur before that. Kazushi Sakuraba was a pro wrestler before he started just destroying people in Pride. They didn't say, "Oh no, let's see how you do as an amateur first." No, they just jumped right in it. Bobby Lashley, the same thing. Like I said, you're gonna go through the trouble of taking a beating for fake. You're fighting for fake, and you're getting paid. And you're gonna fight for real for free? No. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work like that. Jason David Frank fought 6 amateur fights. 6. He could have done 2, could have done 3. No, fought 6 and then 1 pro fight, and then the next one he says, "I'll wait for somebody." And it could have been, if CM Punk would have went with him, it could have helped, promote, some other little rinky-dink organization, that helped, helped a lot more fighters get recognized because of that particular show. He decided to go. And that's the only thing I'll ever talk bad about CM Punk, because he is punking out of his fight with Jason David Frank. Like, I don't understand what's the difference between whoever it is that UFC has you lined up for versus JDF. And but I would never go in to say it. Like, I would love to roll with him one day. Absolutely love to roll with him one day, and I would never be like, I could beat up CM Punk. Wrestling's fake. You'll never hear me say that. And Tyron Woodley basically put it best. Every MMA fan should at least take 1 amateur fight. Go out of their way, train 3 months or however long it takes. Go out of your way and take an amateur fight. Doesn't even have to be sanctioned, because you're not necessarily going to make a career out of it, and you're going to find out real quick if you're even good enough to make a career out of it. And basically, that's that would basically get rid of all the naysayers, all the negative talkers, all the keyboard warriors, so to speak. And I'll let for somebody to be stupid enough to actually think that they can step up to a pro fighter, he got exactly what he deserved. Absolutely. They took the video down off of YouTube, which sucks, because I would love to have seen that. I mean, that was the whole premise of a bully beatdown. These guys were under the delusion to think that they were invincible, and sure enough, they're going up against guys who are not as heavy as them, not as not as big as them, and they're just getting destroyed. Why? Because these guys had technique. Josh Neer, I hope good things happen to you in the near future. Patrick Martin, you idiot, I hope you learned your lesson. Everybody else, quit trolling these fighters. They're professionals. Love them or hate them, leave them alone. I'm done.